podcast is BYOT. Bring your own tacos.
Dick swinging.
You're listening to American Slacker Podcast.
We can say fuck.
With Matthew Gertz and Jesse Landers.
I don't care, I've been smoking, this is cool.
That's a decent amount of sausage.
This man needs a doctor!
Yeah, I just hope they're tasty.
What's up with these clowns, man?
Cut the lights and went through people's pockets.
Don't you point that at each other.
Let them smoke a little. You need to step it up to that point. We're not gonna lead with the.
We're not gonna lead with that.
So you just got back, right, from Camp Bisco?
Just coming off of Camp Bisco, man, and it was a
4
wild
days
weekend.
of music insanity, would you say?
Well, it was 3 technically for me.
Okay.
We arrived Thursday afternoon, probably 4 o'clock, which it was a fucking mayhem, man. So you get there and you're camping, so you have a ton of shit, and we brought a ton of shit, and I basically had an easy dolly, 2-wheeled dolly to bring the shit.
Okay.
Not realizing what I was up against. So at the car, I pack it all nice and it's huge. It's like a crate square, but I've got it all tightly packed like fucking Tetris.
Okay.
And then I get to the shuttle, the first shuttle, and we got to take it all apart to put it up on a normal school bus.
Oh shit. There goes all the work of bundling it.
I'm like, all right, so we do that, get it on there. We get to the trail where the wagon is. Then we have to get on a wagon, which luckily I could pack it all again, and I didn't have to take it apart to put it on the wagon. It's
Wagon? We talking
hayride.
radio flyer? What? What kind of wagon we talking?
A hay wagon type deal, behind a pickup truck.
Haunted
So a
hayride
big
style?
open trailer. Yeah. And so we get on that, and then it drops us off on what's called the Red Loop. Now, Camp Bisco is held at Montage Mountain. It's a huge resort that has skiing and snowboarding, and it also has a water park.
Oh, wow.
And so the place where they're having you camping is all the slopes.
So you're on an incline?
We're on a huge incline going up this fucking crazy hill, and I have a fucking little ass dolly with regular wheels that are meant for fucking concrete.
Yeah, these aren't treads.
Imagine dragging a giant cart with 2 wheels up a fucking rocky ass trail. And I'm not talking little teeny pebbles. I'm talking fucking rocks from a couple inches to fucking a foot wide,
You're almost better off carrying
Oregon
it.
Trail. And fucking, yeah, dude, it literally was. There was just so much shit that we couldn't just break it apart and carry it unless we had to make mad trips. So I fucking trekked it up a hill, and we stole a little sliver of camp space on the edge of the trail. We were fuck it, we're setting up here. We're not going up any further. And
Make
fucking
camp
the
here.
whole
We'll
weekend.
reach the summit in morning.
My God, the whole weekend we were sliding to the bottom of our tent when we slept at night.
That sucks. You end up
Dude,
waking up in
yeah.
a pile.
Dude, literally waking up with my feet hanging out of the tent and shit.
Damn.
It was amazing. But on
so
the
you're
positive
roughing it.
note, we were roughing it. But it was worth it, man. A lot of great people, a lot of interesting people. One of our neighbors was going around introducing himself to people with a new name every fucking time.
That's pretty funny.
He was wasted, so he didn't realize he introduced himself to us multiple times. He said Paul one time, and I think John another time.
He's got some slick shit going on.
We heard him talk, and he's like, "Yeah, I've introduced myself as Paul, John, Jeff." And he kept going on, fucking with names.
That's funny. So
character.
what acts did you get to see?
So man, it was a wild setup. There was everybody, all kinds of people. A lot of EDM, a lot of jam bands. I'm not a jam band guy, but even Action Bronson was there.
Oh
So
wow,
that was
that's
cool.
awesome.
Got to see him for a little bit. 12th Planet was there. He was really good. Louis the Child was there. They were really, really good.
Sweet.
Paper Diamonds. There was all kinds of great artists there.
Yeah, I was checking out your social
we got to see
media.
Grizz again.
Do you live posting
man.
all kinds of cool stuff?
Bass Nectar and Grizz were both at -0, which I got to attend earlier on this year in the wintertime in Vermont. But it was a really good show, and the fact that there was a water park was crazy. Got to go on fucking a wave pool, huge wave pool.
Oh, that's cool.
And this there was this monster ass fucking water ride that you ride a tube down, and it kind of spins and goes down these crazy tubes and shit.
Okay.
And I go down it with my girlfriend, and she won't let me live this down. We're going down, and we get through the first little part, and I'm all right. I'm like, oh my god, all right. And then we're getting to this part that's like a straight drop with a teeny ass water tube. And before I can even think about it, I make this like a noise that's comparable to like a jet fighter. When you put somebody in a jet for the first time and they take somebody around and they're hitting the G's, they're getting to the high G's. I like crunched all the air out of my fucking esophagus. I'm like, ah! I literally made that noise.
You gotta push the blood into your head so you don't pass out.
Dude, that's what it was, man. I was pushing the blood to the head.
That's ridiculous.
And yeah, I just couldn't even, like, I was just like, I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry.
It's like, ignore that last noise.
You just ignore that. Let's go get drunk.
It sounds like you had fun. I'm glad that you made it back, and we're still putting out an episode because we love the fans.
Yeah. And on that note, welcome to another episode of American Slacker Podcast. And as always, I'm Matthew.
And I'm Jesse. And as we always like to tell you, make sure there's a water park at your concert.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
And recommend the show to a friend if you haven't done that already. You probably know someone who would enjoy hearing our voices coming out of their speakers on their commute or wherever you listen to us. If they're not familiar with, how podcast works, send them over to the YouTube. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of us.
And also, please support the show by contributing to our Patreon. Contributing to our Patreon helps us craft this show and spend more time dedicated to it. Of course, we got to start this out by thanking current patrons. Do this every time.
Patrons.
And of course, it's the guys at Crime Roulette Podcast. You guys are fucking awesome, and we appreciate you contributing.
Kyle, Noel, Bradford, all you guys, we really appreciate it. Make sure you check out their podcast as well.
Hell yeah.
And if you want to hear your name at the top of this show, head on over to patreon.com, search American Slacker Podcast, and help us out any way we can, and you'll get your name shouted out, along with an invite to play Xbox with us on the last Saturday of the month.
So, coming up on this show, we got our bizarre news as always. Then we're going to clink it up with a little tech, and then we're going to close out with the Wheel of Weird. So, stick around.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. We always like to start out the bizarre news with a little bit of weed news. This time, it's something that I've always been interested in and thought that we were going to be leaning towards in the near future with legalization and laws being more lax on marijuana. In Switzerland, a supermarket is starting to sell cannabis cigarettes. Now,
Nice.
This independent Swiss cigarette maker has launched the first, they called it a hemp cigarette. And it's on sale in major Swiss supermarkets on July 24th for the foreseeable future. But it has a very low THC content. It's more CBD, which people have found helps in treating pain, inflammation, panic attacks, that sort of thing.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I was going to say, it's perfect for if you're feeling a little sore in your back.
Yeah.
Shoulder issue like you got.
Or maybe, I'm thinking it could be a way to help people quit cigarettes if
That
they're
too.
wanting an
I
alternative.
mean, why not? Yeah, it's still going to be the same, like, pleasure, the fixation.
Yeah, the whole oral fixation thing. And I mean, each pack is going to cost
Yeah.
$19, well, 19 francs and 19 cents. So it's a Swiss franc, which is equal to about just over $20 in the U.S.
Okay,
So
and how many does that get you?
It's a pack, so I'm guessing it'd probably be like 20, like how they normally come.
Oh, keep it like a normal cig. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't go into how many come in per pack, but they have done some interviews with, I thought this was funny, a paper out of Switzerland called 20 Minuten. And they said, hemp products are high in demand, pardon the pun, like along the lines of tea, beer, oil. It's just another commodity that they're hoping to be able to corner in terms of the market.
Hell yeah. I was at a random vape shop the other day, and I noticed they had a CBD mixture you can add to your normal vape liquid.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was awesome, yeah.
That's a really neat way of going about it, because then, you can, if you don't like the real, like, THC type stuff, you can always still have the CBD with, like, a very low THC content. These are supposed to have 1% THC, so that's still even low. That's like what Mexico said for their legal weed we were talking about in another episode.
Take a whole lot of weed to get high.
I guess most European countries have a legal limit of 0.2% THC, which is really low. We thought Mexico had a low one.
Yeah, definitely not anything you want to use to get high. You'll get a headache before you get high.
So yeah, the company warns against bringing the cigarettes abroad, but at least if you're heading to Switzerland, you can always pick up a pack of Marlboro Greens. I doubt that's what they're called.
Well, we're gonna go from something pleasurable to something that just makes my blood boil.
Fucking enraging.
Enraging. This is a crime against American slacker. More importantly, a crime against the United States of America. Because Alan Thacker is an asshole. And just so you know who Alan Thacker is. Not Alan Thicke. He's alright. He's a nice Canadian. He's a nice.
He
nice
passed out. He passed away.
Did he really? How did I miss this?
Yeah, recently. It was end of last year.
Dad from Growing Pains is gone. Fuck.
Right.
Back to Alan Thacker. This motherfucker. So, he had an issue on his property. Something was running around and eating the fish from his pond and hunting small game. And he's a hunter. So he didn't take kindly to this. So he decided to stake out what was going on. And he found out that an adult male American eagle had been fishing on his property. He tried to warn the bird and send off a warning shot. When the bird still kept coming around, he decided he had to act a little more intensely, deciding to shoot the bird. But that wasn't enough because the bird survived the shot. Laying on the ground, Thacker decided to run over the bald eagle multiple times, a witness said. Like 3 or 4 times. And then drag the bird into the woods to bury the body discreetly.
Now, he ran it over with an ATV, right?
Yeah, he ran it around with his quad. He did like a couple like donuts on this poor fucking bird.
Fucking bullshit, man.
He denied killing the eagle, according to prosecutors. But he also did go on to say something like, bald eagle protection is an issue because the birds are a menace, and that people who he associates with feel the same way.
He's just pissed that it's taking his fish from his pond.
Go somewhere else, man, or fucking stock your pond better. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, seriously. You live out in
fuck with the
nature,
bald eagle.
that's what happens. But yeah, shooting and then running over with a quad, the animal symbol of our country and of our podcast. He's making the shit list.
The fucking mascot of freedom. Well, this asshole's in court right now, and he could face up to a year in prison and $100,000 fine. On top of that, he also must hand over the rifle that he shot the bird with and $960, or half of the value of the quad that he ran the fucking bird over with.
Oh, wow.
According to a forfeiture order.
That's great. Wait, is that to get his quad back since it was used in the
the crime
incident?
It doesn't describe the actual terms here, but it just says $960 or half of the value of the ATV.
Huh. Jeez.
So if you can prove the ATV is a lower value, then you can pay that.
It'd be like, of course it's lower value. It's got eagle blood all over it.
Nobody wants that shit. Eagle Massacre quad.
Now, so that guy's pretty fucking terrible.
It's a straight commie quad, you could say.
Yeah, right? Fucking running over the symbol of our country. It's absolutely terrible. Now, fuck that guy, first off. Secondly, we're headed over to China for our next story, where we had a little bit of confusion of the American variety as well. This woman does live streams. Her name is Zhang. That's her surname. And she does live streams of, like, eating stuff, you know? You want to do, like, a feast. A lot of people do that kind of thing. Like, oh, let me eat this giant thing or whatever. She decided to have an aloe vera feast, you know? A lot of people use aloe in beauty and makeup type things, or you can actually have aloe drinks. I've had one of those before. They're not bad. Kind of refreshing.
They're not bad, no. Yeah, aloe water.
Yeah, and aloe is supposed to have some good benefits from consuming it, from putting it like on burns, I know. But this woman confused natural aloe with agave americana, which is a poisonous plant native to Mexico. And this plant is pretty much an ornamental plant and should not be eaten because the sap is known to be very, very toxic. They say that consuming 100 milliliters of the sap consecutively for 3 days could lead to death.
Damn,
so,
it is
she's
toxic.
She's got these two huge leaves of this American agave, and it's like probably the size of my arm, so like a good like 3 foot like fucking piece of leaf, and she just chomps right into it. Right after she chomps into it on the live stream, she's like, "Oh, that's bitter. That's really bitter."
Usually a telltale sign that something is not supposed to be eaten.
Your body knows what it should and should not have in it.
Yeah.
She abandoned the live stream, immediately went to the hospital. She said her mouth went numb and felt like her throat was on fire. She lost her voice, and this was only after
She didn't bring the
3
live
bites.
stream with her.
No.
She didn't. Oh my god!
Didn't
You
bring it
gotta
into the ER.
cover the whole part of the fuck up. You gotta bring it in when the doctor tells you that you're an idiot for chewing on this plant.
Well, I think she knows it because she ended up having her stomach pumped, and she also ended up having severe rashes and
brutal.
blisters from this. So, always be sure of the family and species of the plant that you're about to eat and make sure it's not poisonous.
Yeah. We stress that at American Slacker, especially mushrooms. Don't fuck with the fungi unless you've been coursed on it.
Yeah, seriously, plants, animals, bugs, like you can't just eat anything.
Man, you know aloe vera is like a very good deterrent for like mosquitoes and most bugs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a nice little fact a lot of people don't realize. We got the aloe vera for like if you get sunburn, but use that shit as an alternative to like
Bug spray.
if you go outside.
It's better than having DEET on you.
Furthermore, the people in our next story could have used a little aloe vera because in Augusta, Maine, a man decided to throw a cup of bed bugs at the people at the counter of the municipal building in Augusta. And
It's not a biological attack. I guess it'd be an insectal attack or arthropodic attack.
yes, yeah, I mean, yeah, either way, it's an act of terrorism in my book.
Yeah, seriously.
A 74-year-old man named Charles Manning was a little in distress over the fact that he had been complaining about bedbugs at his current apartment, and they wouldn't help him with any assistance for a new apartment. They said he didn't qualify. So after, a couple weeks of going back and forth trying to get permits or any type of help and assistance, he was fed up. So he gathered these bedbugs from his apartment. And I guess it was so many that the people that were working here at this government building thought he had thrown coffee grinds until the coffee grinds started fucking moving.
Oh, God, that's horrifying.
Yeah. Could you imagine? And bed bugs are like lice. They spread like wildfire.
Oh, God, they're alive.
So they had to shut this building down for multiple days and get it bombed and the carpets cleaned and the whole place scrubbed. Just so these bugs wouldn't spread.
This was the DMV?
Yeah.
There
Well, no. Not a DMV. We could
Okay.
only wish it was a DMV. That place could use a little fucking...
Get you moving.
Bomb.
Here's some bed bugs.
It's too slow in here. No. It was like a general, like, municipal building. Like something like a town hall almost.
Okay.
And, man, I feel for the workers. That's the only thing I feel like you'd just be like wanting to strip down right there, not bring anything you had with you home.
Yeah, I would just flee the building immediately. Did
Naked.
they ever figure out what his disgruntled problem was to do this?
Well, yeah, it was because he needed assistance to get away from the bed bug infested apartment, and they wouldn't help him at all. So he decided to give them a dose of the medicine that he was trying to.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's fair. I follow his logic at least. It wasn't just like
man,
a
he was
crazy
like,
guy.
You want to
dumping
see what I'm
bugs?"
living with? Here you go.
Damn.
And just bed bugs all up in your face.
Well, I don't think exporting your bed bugs is necessarily going to make them go away.
Well, it lowers the numbers. So, you got 100 out, it's 100 less for, a day or two until they rebuild that fucking population.
Well, maybe there's something like the aloe vera or something that he'd be able to, take a little home remedy, try and get the bed bugs out of there.
A nice natural remedy.
Cover the bed in hot sauce.
Ooh, I feel like nothing could survive being covered in hot sauce.
A little cayenne pepper. It's going to solve your problems.
A little chili.
Yeah, sure, your bed's stained red after, but it's just the price you pay for not having bed bugs. So that actually
It's
brings
sterile.
us to our next. It's not necessarily an article. It's more a YouTube phenomenon. We've had talked about on a previous episode, our old episode where we had Tim Zabluski on. It was called Tim the Tetris and the Slackers. We talked about how a guy had put Diet Coke and then Mentos in a pool to see what would happen,
Yeah,
and it got us talking
Filled a
about
pretty good
like,
sized pool.
yeah, and it got us talking about like, oh, what would happen if you put a fucking pool of hot sauce and jumped in it? That's what we were like. Oh, that's what we want to see. Little did we know, this already exists on YouTube. The hot sauce
Well, I think in
challenge.
fairness, we did come up with the idea. We did come up with the idea. This happened after our talking about it.
Actually, you know what? I think you're right, because this one is 2016 in August, and it was like September or something when we started talking. Maybe we inspired this for all we know. But
We could have.
the one video I want to highlight is from the YouTuber, I'm going to butcher it, Samir Kandar. And he has a video labeled Bathing in 1,250 bottles of hot sauce. And it just looks fucking painful. He fills his little tub here with buckets. It is a little tub. It's a very tiny tub. But he fills
Enough
it
to
with
submerge
hot
himself.
sauce and red peppers floating in it. Just for, like, effect. But he screams about how his asshole's burning afterwards. That's something you don't want submerged in pepper liquid.
No. None of those areas where you want submerged in a finely red sauce of any sorts.
He comes out of it, like, exhausted. He looks like he ran, like, miles at the beach, because dude's all red. He's, like, winded from it. It's fucking terrible.
And just imagine, it's probably like a bunch of needle heads all poking you all over your body, like every fucking inch of your body just getting poked.
I would just imagine the worst places would be in, like, your nose, like when you get the little bit of hot sauce in there when he dumps his head under. It's pretty terrible. So yeah, don't do this. Don't do this. We've already seen it. It's out there. We don't need anyone jumping in hot sauce fucking beds.
Yeah.
There's plenty
it's
of it to
fucking
see already.
brutal. Yeah, we'll have to put up a link to this because it is fucking ridiculous. And he's hurting hours after, like you're saying.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I don't know what's worse. If you're submerged in a tank of hot sauce or if you're cruising, 60 miles an hour down a hill on a skateboard and then you get bumped into a squad car's front grill.
Ooh. That's rough pick because, you're talking about, like, burning pain versus, like, blunt force pain. Hit by a car. I've been hit by a car. It's not fun.
No, man. Especially if you fly into a squad car, they got those metal, like, guard bumpers that are just, like, no good. Oof. And what we have, man, is skateboarders have been coming into a clash with police in the city of San Francisco. Apparently there's a popular hill that they like to bomb. They were just kind of holding it down.
Yeah, having a hill jam.
Hell yeah. Police were trying to shut it down. They were parking their cars in the middle of the roads and stuff. But, skateboarding will find a way. Just like Jurassic Park. So these guys are curving. They're coming down the hill and they're curving into, like, a narrow space between a cop car and another, utility vehicle. When one asshole cop decides that he's going to step out a little bit and give one skateboarder a shoulder check, leading the skateboarder to fly into a fucking cop car and do a flip, basically taking all the impact of the collision right on his knees.
Yeah, it was like knee to hip area off the back of the cop car.
Watching the video it's one of those clench videos, man. You can't help but go, fucking shock factor is there.
And I mean, I have to commend the other police officers, because a lot of the tactics they used were they would sort of walk in a line down the street or across the street so that slowly there wouldn't be any area for the people to skateboard. That's like a passive way to sort of shut it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one dude just threw a shoulder into the border
check.
As he was speeding down the hill. Yeah.
Just a complete asshole. And not all cops are bad. Like, of course we're not saying that all police officers are bad, but there is a few that are just dicks, man, and this guy is definitely.
I was gonna say, frankly, most of the officers from that footage were, like I said, trying to peacefully break up.
I've got to say,
skate session.
It was like 1 to like 50 there, like that one guy and 50 other great officers that were just not doing anything like that.
Right, because I mean, it's the people in the neighborhood, I believe, called the police because there's all these skateboarders, they're shutting down the street, no one can drive, like it kind of. They got to deal with it one way or another.
It is a pain in the ass.
But that's not the right way to go about it at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Remember, skaters
probably gonna need.
Skaters are people too.
Yeah, hell yeah. We've all been youthful, even if you weren't a skater when you were younger. You still did some wild shit, I'm sure.
And skateboarders that are out there, try and respect authority as much as possible. If the cops come, run. That's usually the best.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You should be skating there at least.
Get the fuck out of there.
We got a runner. Go! Freeze, sir! Freeze! Hey!
Yeah, nowhere's safe.
Don't hang around and get shoulder checked. Hopefully that guy's doing a little bit better. Or, well, like recovering from his injuries from hitting that car.
Yeah, man. I'm sure he's gonna need a little surgery after that. I'm sure his knee is like jelly right now, like just busted.
On a lighter note, we have our funny clip of the week coming up next.
Yeah, man. This is awesome.
This is one that we always put up on our Facebook on Wednesdays to give you a little laugh. You can head over to Facebook and search American Slacker Podcast, and we always put fun stuff up on our page, including this. This is a little throwback to Harambe, if anyone's unfamiliar and you were under a rock that year. Harambe was a gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo, I think, who got shot by a zoo official because a little boy had fallen into the gorilla cage.
It's another one of those videos where like what you're focusing on or think you're watching isn't the main focus of the video. It comes out of nowhere. Unexpected
beeline. But yeah, we won't spoil it for you. It's gorillas acting a fool in a habitat. So we'll be sure to post that up. We'll be posting that up on our Facebook page on Wednesday for sure, so that everyone can get a good look at what we're talking about here. But now I think we're moving on to some technology.
Technology.
So first up in technology, I found this really cool article about cloning. Now in South Korea, there is a team that's working to clone different things, and their eventual project is going to be the woolly mammoth.
Yeah,
so I thought that was kind of
apparently
crazy.
It's the easiest genetically to bring back between mixing it with elephant DNA.
Yep, they have to sort of mess around with other species before getting to that one that's not been around for a while. And they have a lab-made dog made from a tiny fragment of the mother cloned dog's ear. The cloned puppy was brought to meet its biological mother for the first time.
That's crazy. Just a little bit of ear, and you got the virtually like identical dog.
It's a 6-year-old mother and the cloned puppy they met for the first time, and they look exactly like, I mean, it shouldn't be surprising. It's literally a clone of the dog. But still, it's just like, oh, that's cool, because you want to think like, oh, that's its mom, but it's really the same like DNA, just replicated. It's not even like a mother puppy sort of thing.
Yeah, dude, it's so weird, man. I could like meeting a clone of yourself.
Right? Imagine meeting your own clone. You'd probably be like, oh, I kind of have a good feeling I'm gonna like this guy for some reason. So yeah, it's really interesting the fact that we're getting to this point where we're cloning these animals, and like the thought prior, the psychological aspect of like a clone meeting itself. That's kind of cool thing to like wrap your head around. But I'm really looking forward to the woolly mammoths.
Dude, yeah, that'll be wild to see the first like mammoth clones when that happens.
Keep it coming, South Korea. I want my mammoth burgers.
Hell yeah, they're the first place actually where you can actually pay to get your dog cloned. I did read that in a different article a long time ago. If you're wealthy enough, you can pay for some type of cloning and get your identical dog. Very weird.
Elon Musk could probably be photocopying his dogs then.
Oh yeah, you just keep the same one over and over and over again, and it never ends. It's an endless chain. And I mean, what would tech be without talking about Elon? We got a couple articles of Elon that we're going to break down. We had talked about previously the Model 3 is getting ready to roll off. And actually, about a week ago, the first Model 3 to roll off the Fremont, California assembly line did.
The first affordable Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you're not aware, the Model 3 is a very affordable Tesla. It's going to be starting out at the price about $35,000, and it's still going to carry all the Tesla feats. A beautiful like interior, a very BMW, Mercedes-like. It's
that center console with the touchscreen.
I love the touchscreen. It's really cool, the integrated design with all just touchscreen. Very minimal, but very modern. And a range of 215 miles. So that's the one downside for the starter price. You can get a bigger power cell and, of course, up your mileage. But 215 miles per charge. And also another thing about these cars is you're going to have to pay for every charge. It doesn't include charging like all the other models, the Model S and Model X.
Now, I was wondering how they were going to pull that off, if it was going to be some sort of, like, different adapter.
No, it's the same adapter, but there's something about, like, the car can register if it's able for free, like, charging. Something to do with
someone's going to be hacking that.
Oh, you know there'll be a code. There's always a code.
Jailbreak your Tesla?
Yeah. And you can get 10% off by entering JRE.
Or ASP.
Or ASP. We're getting there. Now, the first Model 3 was actually supposed to go to Tesla board member Ira Ehrenpress, but he decided to actually give it to Elon as a birthday present. And Elon turned 46 on June 28th, so it was pretty nice of the guy. Elon actually owns the first Model X, but he doesn't own the first Model S. So, and he has the other Tesla too. There was another Tesla that he has the first production. So he has 3 of the #1 productions from the Tesla factory, which is cool.
That's cool.
And he decided that, he of course he threw up some images on his social media, his Twitter and Instagram, of the Model 3. It's a very attractive car.
It's beautiful. I really like the design.
Man, it looks like a Porsche. Looks like a 4-door Porsche.
Yeah, kind of.
Even though you're going to have to pay for the charging, it's still going to cost quite a bit less than filling up the gas tank on the average sedan. So
yeah,
it is like you're going to save money buying these electric cars, and not to mention all the incentives like certain states have for owning a hybrid like this.
And the lack of smog you'd be putting out into the air as well.
Yeah. I've even heard of like other countries. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but like outlawing like buying cars that aren't electric, or at least half electric, by 2030.
Yeah, France was one of those countries that wanted to have it done by a certain year.
Yeah, and it's wild to think that, man. And the Model 3 is still going to feature that automated driving service that most Teslas do. I'm not sure if it's going to come out right away. I think it's going to be a download eventually to catch up with all the states. They got to center on cars like Google does to basically network the whole fucking United States so that it knows what to read. It is going to be capable of doing the actual autopilot, which is Tesla's high point, and moving us towards the future that we all know is inevitable. We're going to lose our right to drive.
Well, I know that they said, even if you don't have a smart car, all the smart cars will box you in, so you have to drive safely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody's going to own a Tesla
it's coming either way,
man.
The other thing that we talk about a lot is the fact that, if we get better public transportation, we'd have less cars on the road in the first place.
Hell yeah.
And that's another thing that Elon Musk is really pushing for with his Hyperloop 1.
Hell yeah.
And they had their first system test. Yeah, the Boring Company. Boring McBoreface.
They had to open it up for him.
The Hyperloop 1 had its first full system test of the ultra-fast transportation system out in Nevada, which is where they've been doing their dev test or developer testing. They managed to get their chassis to go, I believe it was like 250 miles an hour.
Yeah,
that's their ending goal. I'm sorry, they got it. Their eventual goal is to get it up to 250. It could in theory go up to 750 miles per hour, but this first run of it actually got it up to 70 miles per hour, pulling 2 Gs while reaching that speed.
That's still a good cruising if you're underground like that. You're not going to do near that on a little city street.
Not at all. And one of the biggest factors that helps them do that is this airtight seal that they have for where the pods are traveling. It's quoted that by achieving a full vacuum, they're essentially inventing their own sky in a tube, as if you're flying at 200,000 feet in the air. So that definitely helps them in terms of aerodynamics and stuff. They also showed their first pod that will house like things and people in these Hyperloop tubes. So yeah, they're trying to reach their next phase of testing of hitting that 250 mile an hour mark, and these new Hyperloop 1-2 pods that they're doing, they look really, really sleek. It's like a train out of the future.
Yeah, man, it's definitely the future. I mean, it's about time we started sitting here and figuring out an alternative to break up the traffic in these big cities. We talk about it over and over again, LA and New York City especially. The traffic is horrific.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to think of alternatives. And obviously we're not at the flying car part yet.
Seriously.
Why not go underground?
We got to really push to actually get this, though, because so far the company said that it has feasibility studies underway in the UAE, Finland, and Sweden, but they've been eyeing less than a dozen regions in the U.S. to actually implement this Hyperloop, even though they're testing it in Nevada.
Yeah, I'd imagine a lot of the cities have issues, between breaking up the structure that's above the ground, or, say you put it in LA, you're in a city that's prone to have earthquakes. What if
Right.
something cracks, the ground shifts, and the ocean water starts seeping into these tunnels and drowns people? That's
That's
nightmare.
terrible. No, you're better off putting it in
Yeah.
a place like, I don't know, Iceland, where, like, you could do a big loop on, like, one island
Hell
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with the Hyperloop, where it goes in first, what Elon continues to do with it, and if they're going to hit that 250 mile an hour mark they're shooting for.
Hell yeah, man. That would just be crazy. 250 miles. You just park your car on a little platform, brings you into the ground, shoots you to the other side of the fucking city, you're good.
Right?
No traffic. And keeping up in car news, a student team from Eindhoven University of the Netherlands, it's a technology university, unveiled a new car that's made completely out of a biodegradable lightweight structure, mainly consisting of sugar beet and flax.
Okay.
And now, on top of like it being a lighter issue car, and just being friendlier to our environment to produce this car, it takes literally 20% less of the energy to use to make this car, which is amazing. And it's actually pretty durable. It's passed all the tests in the Netherlands for a car to actually be safe to use on the roads.
That's awesome.
It's quite an amazing little thing too. We're definitely gonna put this in the slideshow, a picture of this. It's called Lena. There's still a few more tests, I guess, to configure before they can mass produce this car. But it's quite amazing to see that we're actually getting into the idea of alternatives. A lot of the cars today are made with a cheap plastic or metal composite that just dents anyway. Why not looking to things that are going to be actual practical to use from the environment that we have in mass?
Right? Because think of how many, like, junkyards are just sitting with, like, old car bodies just chilling there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a biodegradable skin, so, if you leave the car to rot, like... Which I gotta say, I drive around the northeast of the lot for work. I see cars in the woods rotting away like no tomorrow. Like, I don't know what's going on. People just have, like, machines in their yards rotting away in, like, overgrown areas.
It's no good. And then you got the oils and stuff.
Yeah, the
leaking
oils
out.
and stuff. Yeah, and it's just amazing. This car will last 20 years, and it's completely safe to the environment. Say you did drop it into a lake or something like that.
Right? Worst case scenario, at least it's going to break apart on its own.
Yeah, without a doubt. And no toxins released into the environment. It's quite... Again, it's a cool looking car, man. It looks like... I would say almost like a modern version of your car, the Cube almost. Like, it's a little squared, but it's just got those, like, futuristic curves to it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cross between my car and a smart car in a way.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it is a little smaller than your car for sure. It's got some racing stripes almost.
It's got that, yeah, kind of. It's got that dome sort of top that gives you a little bit more area inside the car, like Volkswagen's got too.
Yeah, you can view everything. Yeah, the windshield is fucking huge.
Oh yeah, it goes up to like it's like a windshield turned into a sunroof.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like where you're sitting in the driver's seat, it goes back like 2 feet over your head, but it's straight incline up.
Yeah, it's neat though. I would never, if you had like said which of these cars is biodegradable, I wouldn't have picked that.
No, nice shiny paint on it, nice rims and everything. It looks like a standard little European car.
Speaking of odd, that kind of wraps up our tech segment and brings us into our next one. The Wheel of Weird. Now, the Wheel of Weird is something we've been doing for 2 episodes now. We spin a wheel, and we have a person, place, and thing from the Wiki Unusual page. And depending what it lands on, we will end up kind of giving you guys the info on it and filling you in on what odd thing we pulled out of the Wiki pages this time.
We've got a person, a place, and a thing, as Jesse has stated before. For the person, we've chosen Spring-Heeled Jack. For the place, Spiral Island. And for the thing, Rap Rage.
Rap Rage, and that's with a W, not an R. Rap Rage might be something that happened in the 90s.
Yeah, It's not beef. It's not beef. When you need two
Gats
gats to go to sleep.
All right. So
All right,
Matt's got our
we're out of
spinner
that.
here, and we're gonna see what it lands on.
We're spinning. I think we've got a place. Spiral Island.
We're going
is what
Spiral
we'll be
Island.
talking about.
It's 2 places in a row there for our first 2.
It is 2 places in a man, but our last place was quite spectacular. I don't know if we'll be able to, outdo a kingdom.
Spiral Island is actually very, very interesting. I found this to be highly entertaining read here. Spiral Island is a floating artificial island built in Mexico by British artist Richard Reishi Sawa. It was destroyed by Hurricane Emily in 2005, and a replacement, Joxy Island, has been open for tours since 2008. This is basically a floating artificial island that is growing its own vegetation. This guy decided to take large nets filled with plastic bottles,
I'm reading that.
a plywood and bamboo structure, and then sand and numerous plants, including mangrove trees.
The island also supported a 2-story house, a solar oven, a self-composting toilet, and 3 beaches.
3 beaches. That's pretty good for an island. Small floating
You
island.
gotta have all the angles covered just about. He couldn't go for 4, so he's like, you know what, I got it. East, west, and north. That's all I need.
And because this is a floating island, it's moved around a bunch too. I guess it was at the end of like a beach or an end of a dock, and then like storms kind of pushed it up onto the sand and stuff, and then eventually Hurricane Emily destroyed it in 2005, washed it completely onto the beach, but in one piece. Because, all the roots of the mangroves had sort of intertwined with the bottles. And
It just became one with the environment in general. Anyway, that's crazy.
So then the guy decided, I'm going to do another one. He decided I'm going to build Spiral Island 2, but I'm going to do it near the Isle of Women, near Cancun.
Ooh, nice location.
He calls it's called Joxy Island, but I like calling it Spiral Island 2. You can't forget your roots.
You can't, it's the sequel.
One of the funny things is he started a Kickstarter with a goal of 18,000, but it expired when he only had 5,000. And with Kickstarter, you don't get it unless you hit your goal for the money. So then he started one with a $9,000 goal that he reached. And it's helping keep the island together. People can come visit it for tours, but it's classified as an eco boat, so it needs life rings, buoys, emergency kits, fire extinguishers.
Yeah, it has to comply with all regular boating regulations.
Even though it's
That's quite funny.
Floating tree on sand and bottles,
That's insane. This is creative, I've got to say.
It kind of inspired me. I'm like, I want to start my own floating island. It was on MTV's Extreme Cribs back in 2011.
Man, he has a solar-powered waterfall and river on this island.
See, that's pretty badass.
A wave-powered washing machine.
Ooh.
So he's still doing his clothes. That's nice. I like that.
Don't got to stink out there. So that's Spiral Island for the Wheel of Weird for this episode. Maybe next time we'll be able to hear about Rap Rage or Spring-Heeled Jack.
Oh, I want to hear about Spring-Heeled Jack. He's a funny guy. But maybe we'll get there. Now I'm going to take you to the island of plugs, where you can get away, and you can go to the Facebook and Instagram, and you can check us out at American Slacker Podcast. And also, you can check out the website, AmericanSlackerPodcast.com. And also, if you want to send me an email as how that was not a smooth transition, AmericanSlackerPodcast@gmail.com.
Over by the Fire Eaters and Fire Spinners, you will find our Twitter and Reddit. That is at AMERSLKR Podcast, Amer Slacker Podcast. You can also get a complimentary drink when you rate and review the podcast over on iTunes at the Tiki Bar. Tell a friend about the show as well and send them over to our YouTube if they're not familiar with podcasts.
And the Tiki Bar is stocked with a wonderful selection of music to keep your experience fun as could be. All you gotta do is pop open that Spotify and search American Slacker Podcast. you'll be drifting away in no time.
And if you'd like to step into the VIP lounge where we serve our Patreons and patrons who head on over to patreon.com and search American Soccer Podcast to become a sponsor of the show. They are offered a variety of amenities such as being able to play Xbox with us on the fourth Saturday of each month and getting a shout out at the top of the show.
If you want to keep up with our personal lives on the island, all you gotta do is check out the Instagrams and Snapchats, maybe the gamer tags, if we're on. And my Instagram is MWG Media, and my Snapchat and gamer tag are Matty G from HP.
You'll find me doing the hula at Landers the Plane on all the social media.
Aloha, people. We love every one of you. And we're gonna go chill on the beach. Till next time. That's it.
There you go, there you
Waggy,
go,
waggy, waggy.
There you go, listen again. And for me, you'll find me doing the hula at fuck that up.